Plus I want to smoke. So, yeah, that guy was getting pretty heated. He's the cashier, and he's fucking pissed off at Calgary right now. He's actually an okay guy, though. He's just a little mad. I love when people get mad about the city. I'm mad, too. You cannot assume somebody's position in a situation if you do not know it previously, but you can get punished for it. Overall, humans are shadier when places with shadier variables that contribute to their own situation. The issue is, as the ages keep going by, they're not educated on what the future was supposed to look like at this point. So much indiscretion amongst our law enforcement and innovations within technology have kept the truth from being heard. From authentic sources who have to learn the hard way about what it means to be connected with the universe, the artificial universe, and its complexities that are causing disruptions to spirituality. Overall, I did not expect to be having to keep all of this residual data on file the way I have, because to be able to filter through it and continue to be sane has been challenging. But I have found ways of vindicating and trying to do so. I've faced barriers because of the initiatives in place to target certain addictions and keep them in a state of algorithmic torture, to keep them distracted from the truth because they are the ones closest to the truth, regardless of their outcomes. They unfortunately are being utilized as band-aids instead, and it's not a proper way to use the tool of a crystal or anything to do with its manifestos or capabilities, but has been. And due to the culture that we've placed behind it, it's just become something where I end up the victim. Victimized by my own victimization, I guess. I don't know. That's just addiction in general. But these programs run within a hybrid system of a continuously machine learning sequence recording, and at the beginning part of the program began running on myself personally, got me categorized and appointed by my first and last name, and hacked at some point in time because it seemed like that was all they needed to do so. They would have had access to a 1 percentile app, and the issue is that whether this happened on a criminal or law enforcement level, when it first got administered, it dramatically had a hard impact on my life, because it basically took me being willing on my own to apparently stage my own incarceration, which was in no way, state or form, a possibility at that point, and get isolated from resources to survive. This has been congruent with my criminally motivated agenda, which I've never actually had, but they have, and stripped of all the resources that are supposed to be in place to help me, all because I'm being looked at as somebody else, and the identification system used by the Calgary Police that was adopted after the pandemic is completely hijacked and manipulated. And I know that this is like a serious thing that they need to fix, and they know it's a serious thing that they need to fix, but how do you look at CCTV footage for evidence or to help you with evidence when you know it's faulty? I don't understand. Can that even be used in court in any way? I know, me saying that, it's like, what? But at the same time, it's like, you want to know if your kid's on the bus. I mean, I do not know what the exact ratio is at this point. It's been 9 years since it started, but I've lived at 9 of the 12 fraudulently inherited locations, and I'm being framed for being originally part of, but really just seeing the bill at the end. There is an obvious risk of writing this, but it's become such an issue to attempt to get the police to do the right thing, because it's being accomplished through the assumption of my family's app systems that have been taken over, renamed, and reassumed, and then redistributed. I mean, the federal government's but nobody says anything. We're in major debt that we can't even talk about. The police have not in any way been that much help to me and my family. I know they haven't, and they know they haven't. And it's because they know the truth about it. And regardless of what the truth about it is, even if you're involved, you should really just look at like the bigger picture. There's just a replicated algorithm going on, and we're going broke. And like the bigger picture is really my concern at this point because of the replication of the situation. There's obvious flaws in Canadian federal and municipal government overturned and revised policies to a serious detrimental level for the human rights of the Canadian local citizens and what is available for them. Also, in the last decade, it's opened doors to refugee agents to enforce and allow Canada to adopt new technology and adapt to the exact demolition of their own preservation systems, which are the founding families, which are the founding bloodlines, which are the resources that they're supposed to be distributing all of our money to. But instead, silicone is the new Teflon, apparently, and we don't get an updated military. It's been a very rapid decline in justice in that aspect. So more or less, the acceptance of the framing process above all, actually being charged with the correct charges would be nice. not just hearing about how you're going to at some point, you know? In my own experience, I have no criminal record prior to this, but in the years I've spent now trying to figure this all out and being homeless on and off in the dire conditions in the city I grew up in, which makes no sense if you think about it, but I'm sure I've been visible a lot of the time, as is a lot of people in the addiction warfare going on. Calgary basically has shut off its resources to me, or they've depleted entirely, and I just like sleeping outside. I've ended up in desperate situations that I was in turn arrested for, but I can only imagine it directly intertwining with whatever frames have been previously made on my behalf. And it's sad because once that ratio hits, apparently I'm a criminal, and that's just that's wrong.